Good morning. It is a pleasure to see each one of you at our March the 11th meeting this morning. We appreciate those in our audience and appreciate those who are viewing us by way of television. We are very honored to have some distinguished guests with us this morning, and I will introduce those later when we get to a particular item on the agenda, because I believe one more is supposed to be coming. The Mayor Murphy from Kinston is supposed to be with us this morning also. Let me also extend our sympathies to our manager and his family on the passing of a family member. He is not with us today because of that. He should be on his way back from Indiana, but we are honored to have our deputy manager, Mike Taylor, to be with us this morning, and he will help lead us through this process. So I call this meeting to order. We shall now have our roll call. Thank you. We will have our invocation and our pledge. I will lead the invocation, and Commissioner Owens will lead the pledge. Let's all stand and pray. Father, we thank you this morning for your many blessings upon us. We thank you now for the opportunity of assembling together this morning as a community. We thank you, Father, for each one that is here, and we pray that you might bless us, bless our meeting this morning. Be with us as a board. Help us to make those decisions that are best suited for the citizens that we represent. These blessings we pray in your holy name. Amen.
Face the flag, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I have a motion that we approve the agenda? Let me make one request. Would you grant me the flexibility to move item number 4 under decisions, the support of the regional interstate connectivity in eastern North Carolina? Would you give me the leverage to move that up when Mayor Murphy gets here?
Yes, sir.
Because some of our distinguished guests have other commitments and need to get back. So let's vote on that with that adjustment. Thank you. We have one presentation this morning, and that is going to be presented by Mr. Perry from Department of Social Services. And you can come forward. This is relative to the conversion to North Carolina Fast.
I want to thank you for the opportunity that you have given us to present this morning. I have our chairman of the Pitt County Social Services Board here with me this morning. He would just like to give a couple of remarks before I get started.
Thank you all for allowing me to talk with you. The goal of our proposal is to keep 3,200 residents of Pitt County getting their food stamps in a timely fashion. The reason for this request has been a cut in funds and a subsequent freeze on hiring. I and the rest of the board commend Mr. Perry and his staff for planning this and doing everything in the best way they could to avoid this. I really feel that they did a good job, and I wanted to express these sentiments of the board.
Thank you.
When we talk about NC Fast, this is North Carolina families assessing services through technology. This is a new way that we have begun in all 100 counties Department of Social Services. This process began in May of 2012, and there were some companies, some agencies that were pilots, and then we started in October of 2012. We started by doing our applications, which were the soft launch, and then effective December, we moved into the hard launch, which meant that all individuals that were receiving assistance would have to come in and do the process, go through that process. This is a new business process that we have started. Eventually, it will help the clients because they will end up talking to one person for their services. Now, when we look at NC Fast, it is a very different way of conducting business, of taking applications and processing cases. When you think about a new process, nothing converted out of the old system into the new system. So everything had to be done over. If you came into our agency to apply for food stamps, then it was a new application, which meant that everything had to be rekeyed in. We started this process in December. We brought in 4 additional temporary staff to help in converting cases. And their main function was to take those applications and redetermine and convert them so that the new caseworkers could then process our applications so that the clients could continue to receive benefits. Families will have one-stop shopping with one-time communication of their information and needs. Presently, we operate under a system that if you come in to apply for food and nutrition services, you talk to one caseworker. If you come in to make an application for Family and Children Medicaid, other programs, then you end up talking to another worker. So none of this information was combined together. Under NC FAST, we will have what we call a universal worker, which will be responsible for food stamps as well as Medicaid. So you would not have to talk to 2 workers to get your benefits. It will be one worker. But the process, while we're going through this process, is extremely difficult because you're having to click and key all this information in. So as we go through this process, it will become easier because the majority of the clients will be keyed into this system. And then the clients will end up getting their benefits in a timely manner, and it will reduce the number of applications that they will have to come in to take. And what we've done, we're trying to align our benefits with the same date. So if you receive food and nutrition service and you receive Medicaid, then we're trying to get those benefits aligned so that when you come in, you can do both of them at the same time. So it would not require you to make 2 visits to our agency to get those benefits. We end up, for employers, sending out 2 types of verification because you're receiving food and nutritional service, and then we turn around and send out information for Family and Children Medicaid, adult Medicaid, verifying the same information. And it also will cut down on our costs because it will reduce the number of times that we have to mail out information. So in the long run, it would be a benefit to the citizens of Pitt County because they will not have to come in but once. They will not lose time from their work having to come in duplicate times to give the same information. Nor will they have to tell their story over to another worker. So once you come in, the system will have all that information and you just click the buttons and to go through the process. Now, at the present time, our caseworkers have to know the process. They have to know the rules, the regulations, the procedures. With NC FAST, all the information is built into the system, and the system goes through the process of determining the benefits and determining what program that you are eligible for. So we could end up having a universal worker that would be able to key in the information, and then the system will determine what benefits you're eligible for. And then on the other hand, when the state make changes in policies and procedures with 100 counties, it would be an easier way because all that information would be keyed into the system and you would not have to do training with all 100 counties. It'd just be a matter of the workers continue on to do what they need to do. We talked about avoiding costs of workers losing wages because they're having to come in. We reducing our postage by only having to send out the information one time. Also, it will help in the reduction of overpayments because everything will be done through the system. It would not be a matter of our interpretation of the policy. The policy will be there in the back of the system, and all that will be determined up front. We have 9 systems that will be impacted by NC FAST. We're currently working in food and nutrition services. Child care will come in. Medicaid will come in June of this year, June of 2013. They would piloted it, and then by October, all 100 counties, Department of Social Services will be doing Medicaid through this system as well. Then we have Work First, Energy Assistance, the Low Income Energy Assistance Program, Crisis Intervention Program, Special Assistance, and then on the services end, we have Child Welfare, Adult and Family Services. Under our system of operation, all 100 county Department of Social Services are administered by the state. And the state is responsible for setting the policies, the guidelines. And the mainframe systems that we have been using have been up in the early 1980s. Think about, we have 19 different systems that the workers have to go in now to determine eligibility. All 19 of those systems will be done away with, and everything will be done in NC Fast. So if you receive Family and Children Medicaid food stamps, you have to do your online verifications, Employment Security Commission, DMT, Department of Motor Vehicles. So you have to run all those online, Social Security, to verify the information. This system will do the backup verifications for you, so it will cut down on the amount of time that our workers will spend doing the verifications, and will allow our workers to spend more time talking to the client, dealing with issues that the client brings to us. We are in Project 1, Global Case Management and Food and Nutrition Services. Like I said, we came live in October when we did the soft launch for applications, and then we went the hard launch in December when we started all our redeterms in Food and Nutrition Service. Project 2 and 6, Eligibility Information System. This is dealing with the Medicaid programs. They will come on board in June, pilot in 3 counties, and then all the 100 counties will be up and running in October. Then Project 3 will be the Low Income Energy Assistance Program, Child Care, and Crisis Intervention Program. They will start October of 2013 to have those implemented by 2015. So there's a lapse in between getting those programs up. And then we'll have child services and agent and adult service, document management, health benefit change, and e-pass is where clients will be able to fill out the applications online and submit it directly to the Department of Social Services without coming into the agency to make an application. We're looking at in Pitt County. This chart gives you an idea of where we are in the processing of our redeterms. Every month we average over 2,200 redeterms, which means that the clients submit the information, and they have to be determined eligible to continue to receive their benefits. We are 147 behind on January, which means that the people in January did not get their benefits timely. We had 1,012 that we're still working on for February, and then we're looking at 2,273 redeterms that we have to complete for March. So the budget request is for us to bring in 8 additional people to help with the processing of these applications so that the client can continue to receive their benefits. We have been proactive in that we have contacted the food banks. We have a list of the agencies that are able to help our clients. But when you are running month to month behind, there come a time frame when we need to get the cases done so that the clients can get their benefits in a timely manner. So that budget request is to bring us up to where we need to be so that the clients can get their benefits timely and that we can better serve the citizens of Pitt County. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. Any questions of our manager?
Mr. Chairman, could I kind of further explain?
Sure.
Not only is it this problem, but one of the biggest problems that we have too is security with these people. We have at times over there 50, 75, 100 people in line to get in the building. some of them have to stay all day, come back the next day. And you can well imagine that if you do that, you're going to be mad. I would be mad. And most of these people, they're good people, but they're not educated. They need a job and things such as that. And therefore, we help them out by food stamps and this type. This that Mr. Perry is talking about is greatly needed, not only because of them. Mr. Paramore, who is with the sheriff's department out there is for security. He does a wonderful job. But we have met, of course, with our manager, Scott, and they know the problems that we're having, and they're working on those problems. But to help us catch up, and keep in mind now, these people have to be retrained to do this job that they're doing. And the older they are, the more problems they have in using these computers. I know because I'm in that stage. None of you have that problem, of course. But anyway, we have talked to the supervisors, we've met with them, and we're hoping that they're going to start early getting their people trained to do the job so that they won't be behind. And we're hoping that that they are asking for, which they do greatly need, that will help them in this problem. But the main thing I think that we need to be concerned is the security of those people that we have over there at the mental health building. Now, not in this building. We don't have a problem in this building. But over there, you go over there anytime, and we invite you to go there. You need to go in there and see what is going on. And once you go there and see all these people sitting down there with numbers, and that's one thing I could say about Mr. Paramore. They were having to stay there all day, mad because they weren't being seen, but now he gives out so many numbers, and those that don't get a number, they know they're not going to be seen that particular day. So they go home, they come back the next day. If they got a number they wasn't seen that day, that number jumped into effect the next morning. So they're really doing, I think, a wonderful job trying to catch up. And I think we need to cooperate and help them in any way possible to help them with this problem. That's all I have to say.
Very good. Commissioner Ward.
Two observances, I guess. This means that our citizens are going to have access to a computer.
No, the citizens still can come in, but if you have access to a computer,
then you can use this program.
Right.
But I think it would be good on our part and yours also to maybe let them know, they can use the computers at the library, and you can, there's bus transportation to the library, and I think the Senior Citizens Center, does it not have computers? And so there are some, ways that they can get to a computer if they don't have one. Okay. The second thing is there a process for appealing if you put your information in and you are rejected?
Yes, if you are denied benefits, then the letter would state that you have 60 days to request a hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, let me say this to you. Most of these people, they can't use a computer. They don't have one. They can't read. Many of them can't write. They just need help. And I don't know that they're looking to us for that help, and I think that we as a society, we're going to have to try to step up to the plate and do what we can.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I certainly agree with Commissioner James. I think it's important that we put aside any kind of partisan differences that we have and look at the true meaning that why we are here as commissioners. I think that we need to help these individuals. Social services. I was in Washington, D.C. Just the other week, and it bothered me, Mr. Chairman, to see the partisan differences that's being displayed in Washington, D.C. And it's on the backs of people like Department of Social Service, Mr. Perry is describing. And I think it's sad. I think quite frankly, I'm mad about it. I think that we need to all write our representative in Washington and tell them to put away these partisan differences on the backs of people who are trying to just make a way. Now, social services are hurting, not only in Pitt County, but throughout the nation. The sheriff department is hurting. You have so many different agencies that are being affected by, I think, stupidity, just not being reasoning, coming together and just logically being reasoned to make something, quite frankly, something that's, I think, is simple. But yet they feel they stand on their premises of the Republican versus the Democrats, and it's stupid. So I agree with Commissioner James. I think that we need to do what we can do to help the Department of Social Services in this endeavor. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Yes, Commissioner Hammond.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, and Mr. Perry, I'm hoping that this new system will, as you said, expedite and speed up the services to our citizens. If you are doing January, answering January requests in February, and February's in March, and then when April comes in, you're still working on March case, and maybe North Carolina Fast will improve this overall, whereby you can keep at least every month you can stay abreast with your requests.
That's why we're asking for that additional funding so that we can bring in 8 temporary people to help. And these will be individuals already retirees that already trained in food and nutritional service, so it'll be a small amount of training for them.
Mr. Chairman, these new employees are going to be retirees or come in and replace them. It will take approximately 2 days to get them up working full speed. I believe that's what you said, Mr. Perry. 2 days, and they'll be up full speed working and understanding what they're doing.
Good. Any further questions? Okay, we will handle the request for the additional people under our consent agenda. If there are no more questions, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think what we will do for the sake of efficiency and time, and I know that, as I stated earlier, Commissioner Doherty has to be back in Kinston at 10 o'clock for a meeting. Let's move on to page 27, where we will look at item 4 under our items for decision. This is a very important item. I believe it is an opportunity for us to work together as a region, and it is the approval of the regional interstate connectivity. There's been a lot of work done on this already. There was a group that met some time ago, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, from the various communities in the east of 95, and we all supported this. The Greenville City Council addressed this last Thursday evening at their meeting, and they unanimously approved this resolution, and hopefully we will approve it this morning. We also have Mayor Tripp here from Ayden. I believe they're going to take it up on their agenda this evening, and then Commissioner Doherty from Lenoir County, and we're glad to have each of you here. And James Rhodes has put the map up there, and hopefully you can understand that. And you also have a map in your agenda, in your package. Yes, Mayor Allen, proceed.
Good morning. Good morning, Honorable Commissioners. Appreciate you having us here, and Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, and members of staff. We're excited to be here and hearing the message about social services and the issues we're dealing with. All of this is interconnected. It's about opportunity in Eastern North Carolina. It's about being competitive in Pitt County, in Lenoir County, in Beaufort County, in Wilson County, in Nash County. What do we have to do that other parts of the United States are doing? Do we have the competitive edge, or are we being left behind? Because I can promise you this, there's no standing still. You're either being left behind or you're getting ahead in this competitive environment in 2013. That is what we are here to talk to you about. And we can't boil the ocean, as they say, but there's things that we can do here in Pitt County, Lenoir County, Wilson, and in our region, and Wayne County and others, that can make this area more competitive. And the first step is about a simple thing: connectivity between these communities. The other thing, leveraging our strengths in these communities, military, medicine, university, industrial, global transpark. We are stronger together when we combine our strengths and sell this region. The Triangle did it for decades. The Triad did it for decades. Charlotte Metro does it every day. It's time for the Eastern North Carolina to innovate and put our strengths together. I am glad to be here, honored to be here with several leaders in Eastern North Carolina who have decided to step up and say we're not going to do the same thing anymore. And Commissioner Garris, I applaud you for being a part of that, and this board, that we're going to work together and try to find a way to make Eastern North Carolina and our region more innovative. Now, as Commissioner Garris mentioned, there has been a shift in North Carolina in recent years. The population is moving to the central part of the state. Between the metro area, our representation is down. We've lost less senators and representatives in Eastern North Carolina and the western part of the state. So you have to ask yourself, what do we have to do? You know, we have concerns about BRAC, about military jobs. We have concerns about changes in agriculture and opportunity. So it's time for us to fight for Eastern North Carolina. It's time for us to get together if we're going to get anything done. This is a step in that direction. This is about a concept called Quad East. It's about creating an interstate loop and a transportation hub and connectivity to form all these strengths together that we're talking about. Now, this is a signal, we hope. We all know that those of us in elected office, we're not here to pay for everything. We're here to plant a seed for private development and private business to be able to step up and join us in this endeavor to be able to create opportunity. So we can shorten those lines at social services, shorten those other opportunities because people are having jobs and opportunity in the East. It starts with one step. It's going to take a long time, but the journey begins now. So we're excited to be here with you. On last week, Thursday evening, Mac Doughty, County Commissioner, over in Lenore County, Mayor B.J. Murphy for Kinston, and Mayor Steve Tripp from Ayden, and others joined us. And we're in close communication with Wayne County and others, and Wilson, and presented the resolution of this first step in this process, which is the interconnectivity of our communities, 264, 11, 795, 70, and the interconnecting pieces. We have decided to work together to prioritize this connectivity loop with the hope of someday having an interstate loop where people in Greenville can have a quick trip over to Kinston, people in Kinston can get to Wilson, people from Goldsboro can get to here, because we're selling our communities together with opportunity and creating that opportunity. We passed a resolution unanimously at the Greenville City Council on Thursday evening, and we would appreciate honorably your support as we move forward with this endeavor. And thank you very much for your time this morning. Glad to be here. And other members also would like to speak if you would be so obliged. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, I would be glad to make a motion. I would be glad to make a motion.
Okay. Commissioner Doherty is the person that I believe has been mostly involved in the technical aspects of this concept. And if you have any questions, he would be happy to entertain them. If you're ready to proceed with a motion, I will entertain that.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion?
Second.
Have a second. Did you have a question? Okay, we've had a motion and a second. Any further discussions?
The only thing I want to do is thank you very much for sort of being behind this and pushing it forward. And I also want to thank you, Jimmy, for participating as chairman of our group.
I think this is a great opportunity for us as a region to accomplish some of those goals that we've had for a long time. We have a long time been talking about Interstate 264 coming into Pitt County. And by working this way and involving other entities throughout the region, I think the probability of making this happen is much greater. And Commissioner Doherty has been very much involved in this process, and we appreciate you coming over and appreciate all of your involvement and the involvement of all of you. There are many people that's been working on this project. Does anyone have any questions? If not, all in favor of this resolution, please vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
You made an excellent speech.
my favorite kind.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys coming over. Surely we would be happy for you to stay, but if you have to leave, we understand. Thank you. We will now have our public addresses to the board. Did we have anyone?
We do.
Okay.
We have two people signed up. The first person is Samuel Jones.
Good morning to you, Commissioners. Thank you all for allowing me to speak. I represent the Pitt County Fire Association, in which I'm currently the Vice President. The President could not be here this morning. All of y'all should have received a letter last week regarding an issue that came up at our previous Fire Association meeting. That was in regard to the fire marshals being privileged enough to drive their vehicles home. We respectfully requested for that to be reinstated for several reasons. Our fire marshals, for all practical purposes, although calls are rotated, are on call 24 hours a day. There are different meetings, departmental as well as county association meetings and fire chiefs meetings that they're not required to attend, but we should appreciate their attendance at those meetings because they help in bringing our voice to you. I'm kind of old school, and I believe that communications ought to be done eye to eye, and that was why we wanted to follow up this letter with a personal visit. Whenever you do decide to bring this measure to a vote, we would appreciate your support of it, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have pertaining to the letter. One thing I would like to say, Commissioner Webb was in attendance at this meeting, and this measure did have 100% support from every fire station in this county. Do you have any
Let me say I have discussed that with our manager because I was one of the recipients of your letter, of course, as well as the rest of us. And I think we're going to be able to work that out in this budget process. We appreciate your interest and your concern and appreciate you bringing it for us this morning. And we're surely going to do what we can do to meet that request.
Yes, sir. And y'all commissioners have always been very supportive of the departments in Pitt County. And I can assure you this morning, as I speak on behalf of each and every one of them, that we appreciate you assisting us to help assist our citizens in our respective districts.
Okay. Any questions? Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. O'Neill says he was going to speak on the same subject, so he's good with that. Okay.
Very good. Thank you. Appreciate you
Let me
coming.
ask you, Jimmy, why don't the fire departments, they have their own budget and so forth, why don't they use their money to take and
We will talk about that during our
okay, all
budget
right.
process
Just
with
How
Scott.
they can solve the problem without any
Okay.
trouble at all.
We shall now move on to our items for report, and we will have our manager's report. Deputy Manager Mike Taylor will present that.
Thank you, Chairman Garris. Wanted to make the board aware of our next upcoming meetings, March 25th. That will be at 6 p.m. in the evening. That's a departure for this month of March. And then the following meeting will be April 1st at 9 a.m. The other matter that wanted to make the board aware of, you've received some information. There's a resolution that was distributed this morning. The ECBH, our East Carolina Behavioral Health Care Board, which is our local management entity, will have to be restructured unless the General Assembly changes the current law because of the size of the board. And Commissioner Johnson is our representative on that board, and I didn't know if you wanted to speak specifically to that item this morning.
No, not really.
Let me interrupt just a minute and say I believe this is something that we are all pretty familiar with, because if that current legislation is implemented, then there's a good possibility we may not have a representative on this ECBH board. And what we, as a National North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, are supporting a legislative process to change this so that we can continue to have county representations on these boards. And what this resolution is doing, if you look at the fourth or fifth paragraph there, and now therefore be it therefore resolved that we just want the ability to appoint elected county commissioners to these LME boards like we have now. So if you have any questions about this, then we will entertain them. Otherwise, I will entertain a motion to approve this resolution so we can proceed forward.
Second.
You gotta
Okay.
move in a second.
Anyone have any questions? Okay. We've got a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Let's vote on that, please. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next item was mentioned at the last board meeting about the upcoming tax and tag program, which will go into effect this current fiscal or next fiscal year. And the question was about the state's ability to withhold those vehicle tax that are levied. And currently, there is no statutory authority because this is a local levy. So the General Assembly would have to act to change the general statutes to happen at this time. And the Association of County Commissioners is closely monitoring this to ensure that that does not happen. Any questions on that particular item? Okay. The next is just in our continuing effort to ensure that the public is aware of avenues that they can serve for county government. These are the boards that we're currently advertising for. The Region Q Workforce Development Board, the Aden Planning Board, Mideast Commission, Pitt County Board of Adjustments, Greenville Board of Adjustments, and the Pitt County Development Commission. If you have an interest, continue to check in with our clerk's office. Information is also available on our website. We're going to be working to make that more readily accessible for the public to find. And also, some of these boards have particular attributes, whether that's professional designation and sometimes residency locations, such as in the planning boards and adjustments. The next item is, as Commissioner McLaughlin had mentioned, County Attorney Manager Commissioners McLaughlin and Webb attended the NACO Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C. Earlier this month, and wanted to see if they had any items they'd like to share with the board at this time.
Since Scott asked me to just prepare a brief report to let you know what we covered there. A conference was very well attended. About 120 representatives from North Carolina were in Washington, D.C. The theme this year was Why Counties Matter. We participated in some very valuable educational sessions relating to the impact of sequestration on counties, Medicaid expansion, lessons on advocacy efforts, and a host of other educational topics. We also heard from some fairly well-known speakers. We heard from Mark Zandi, the chief economist for Moody's Corporation, on the outlook for the economy. We heard from Bob Woodward, the associate editor for the Washington Post, Eric Holder, the United States Attorney General, Nancy Pelosi, Democratic leader in the House of Representatives, and Tom Vilsack gave us a very interesting presentation from Secretary of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. While we were in Washington, we did meet with the office of Congressman Walter Jones and Senator Richard Burr to advocate for the needs of Pitt County and the state of North Carolina. We emphasized our opposition to unfunded mandates. We asked for the preservation of current funding streams, especially in programs like TANF, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, where the funding streams come from the federal level. My assessment was that it was a very productive meeting. It had a strong educational component and an opportunity that we took advantage of to strengthen our relationships with our federal partners.
Any questions?
Were you not able to meet with our other senator and other representatives?
They were not available for us to meet with them. They had an extended session because of the weather while we were in Washington, D.C., and so the morning session extended into the evening. And even though, for example, Congressman Jones always meets with us himself, they designated staff members for us to meet with because they were actually in active session trying to wrap up business before the end of the day, and the federal government did shut down that Wednesday. We did all come home a day early.
Commissioner Webb?
And just as follow-up, two of the bigger issues that we talked about with the staff was first, the remote sales tax collection. We lose a lot of money to that every year, and we're hoping that's going to get some traction in Congress once they get through this, the budget battles that they're having. And the other was that we were made aware by some of the staff that there are some in Congress who, in states like ours, who have chosen not to expand Medicaid, want to bypass the state and make the counties do it. And that's just not something we can afford, and we made that very clear to our representatives that they need to, the state and the federal government need to work it out. That's not something that we can afford to do and still run schools and public safety and everything else that we have as responsibilities. So we're hoping those things will get some traction, and that will not roll down, but that the sales tax collection will roll in.
Good.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments about this conference?
Just want to just mention this to the citizens of Pitt County. This sequestration is real. It's affecting a lot of people, And I think that we just need to be serious about this and be proactive and doing what we need to do as citizens of Pitt County to contact our representative and voice your strong opinions about this. It's real, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is the Committee of 100's annual meeting will be March 26th at 11:30, held at the Village Restaurant in the Hilton. And the board's encouraged to attend because they will be releasing the study, the insight study that was conducted by the Chamber, which is a further economic development, community branding type research.
Let me just say one comment about the insight study. It is important that each of us be at this meeting because some of the recommendations of that insight study will significantly impact us and will significantly impact some of the decisions that we're going to have to make. So I would encourage each of you to be there. Thank you.
One additional item that came in after the agenda was published is that there was a request for a grant application with the Viding Foundation, and we received notice that we were encouraged to apply for that. This is to facilitate doctor's visits, prescriptions, and travel for homeless persons, and we would just like to seek concurrence from the board for the chairman to sign that grant application. It will be brought back at a future date if it's awarded.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion on that particular item? Let's vote.
Mr. Chairman, that's all the items I have this morning.
Very good. The next item for report will be our tax collections report, and Mrs. Booker will present that.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The February 2013 Pitt County combined collection rate for real and personal property and registered motor vehicles is 94.24%, which is a slight decrease as compared to 94.55 for the same period 1 year ago. Tax Administration continues to pursue all outstanding enforcement remedies available through the North Carolina General Statutes.
Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, let's vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is a report from Mitch Smith about a grant from the North Carolina Tobacco Trust Commission.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope everyone is well today. Thank you very much. You just click the mouse to hit forward. Forward. Gotcha. Gotcha. Greetings from Cooperative Extension this morning. All of you here are familiar with our farmers market and the role that it plays to provide locally grown fresh produce to citizens in Pitt County. Just a little bit of market history about the farmers market. In 1983, our vendors of about 10 were located at the former site of Pitt Plaza, and the market provided produce about 1 day a week on Saturdays during the season that produce was available. Our market manager, James Heath, has reported to me that last year he estimated we had a little more than 80,000 customers who visited the farmers market. We now have 45 vendors who sell there on a fairly regular basis, and it's reported that we handled 2,702 WIC vouchers, which were valued at $6,755 for the 2012 fiscal year. I've been asked to come here this morning and to inform you of a grant that I have submitted to the Tobacco Trust Fund Commission, which will do a few things that I'll talk about in a few minutes. In case you're not familiar with the Trust Fund Commission, it began in 1998 with the Master Settlement Agreement. That agreement through the Tobacco Trust Fund Commission since 1998 has awarded some $83 million to various projects across North Carolina, and they include businesses, individuals displaced from tobacco-related employment, and tobacco product component businesses across our state. The proposal that I have submitted for $267,000 would expand the current market facility by 8 bays, representing 5,000 square feet. It would provide a 12-month market to Pitt County. Currently, our market closes around the middle of December and reopens about the 1st of April. It would also, through our manager, provide training and certification to vendors, and through his role, it would expand market promotion activities, which would hopefully to orient and to make aware for citizens the availability of locally grown produce to Pitt County residents. And this proposal that I have submitted also creates vouchers for those who graduate from our FNEP program. FNEP is a educational program within Cooperative Extension that targets low-income families. Our goal is to increase the diversity of shoppers at the market who go there. This is just an image of where the expansion might occur if funded. It would be 8 bays on the west end of the facility, again representing about 5,000 square feet. So, just as a point of interest, are there any questions this morning?
Any questions? I'd like to say I think this is a great opportunity, and I surely support you applying for this grant, and hopefully we can get it and expand that area, because I know it is greatly needed. Commissioner McLaughlin.
Yes, sir. Mitch, I wanted to ask you about this this grant in terms of reaching people, the less affluent people. There's a transportation problem, as you know, to get to the area, and I think that one of the strongest push nationally is to have healthy lifestyles. What are we doing in terms of reaching neighborhoods where people just don't have that kind of transportation?
Well, we have tried to, I think, bring busing to some of those individuals who might go there, but our approach has been to, through our FNEP program, to remind them that of how important it is to acquire locally grown fresh vegetables, to teach them how to do that. There's also a program with Public Health, Pitt Partners for Health, which teaches folks who go there how to manage and how to cook vegetables that are in season during the time, which is a wonderful program. Jackie Sugg is a part of that from Public Health. So education is our approach. As far as the travel is concerned, we've tried that in the past. We've just simply not had enough people who wanted to go there via that outlet. So that's a problem we continue to try to explore.
Commissioner Owens, did you have a question?
I have to get through with him.
Okay, Commissioner James.
Does the city have buses going there? Remember, gentlemen, Pitt County has a lot going on out there. We got the senior center, we've got the park, we got the village of yesteryear, we've got all these things there. Does the city have buses going to this particular area at any time during the day?
It's my understanding they do. However, I'm not sure that transportation is the issue as much as demand is, Mr. James. So,
is there sufficient land to take there in the rear on the western end to accommodate the parking and the building and so forth?
Up to a point, yes, sir. I think it is. If we get too popular, that would create another issue. But at the current time, based upon a customer population of 100,000, I think we'd be okay. But I can't say what 5 years will bring.
Well, it looks like to me, I go out to the meetings to the senior center, and there's right much, activity out there. I've never seen the bus out there. Of course, I'm not out there maybe at the right time, but I was just wondering if we did have transportation that goes from Greenwood. It's right there by the city of Greenwood. Does the city limits come out that far?
No.
It does not. So,
It's in the city.
huh?
It is in the city.
It is in the city. Well, that makes a little different thing. Maybe we need to kind of look at that, Mitch, and see. The next thing, and I'm very much interested in this, how much longer will this tobacco trust fund stay into effect?
Well, the master settlement agreement, I have some details here, but it's given out about $83 million.
Yeah, I know, we're talking about a lot of money, and I don't think Pitt County has got our fair share, Mitch, because of the tobacco that we have grown, and you said the main thing is that to help those areas that have been misplaced in the production of tobacco. And I think that's one of the things that migrant help comes in here, and I mean, they don't come in here by the hundreds, they come in here by the thousands. You know that, and I know it.
Yes, sir. It's a 25-year agreement, and it started in 1998.
So we got all right, and that fund is sufficient there for that time. In other words, the tobacco buyout program, what's the last year, this year?
There's one more check associated with that.
So one more check, and then that'll be over with as far as Pitt County is concerned. I don't know how many of you know this, but there is big bucks that come to Pitt County every year. For next year, that will not be in effect. So that was one of the reasons I was asking this question pertaining to how much longer these funds would be available, and we need to get into that like Mitch is doing, work to make sure that we get our fair share of this particular money. Of course, and what really concerns me too, Mitch, you'd be amazed at the amount of scholarships that this gives to citizens of Pitt County and Eastern North Carolina.
And part of that is Gold Leaf Foundation.
Yeah, well, isn't that the same money that comes from the same pot?
Well, it's a part of the same agreement, but that is a different pot of money, so to speak.
But it always comes from the tobacco settlement.
The master settlement agreement, which represents $4.6 billion that will have come to North Carolina. That's our portion for 25 years.
So this is kind of prorated, and we will be getting this money for 25 years. So after that time, we will not get any more.
That's correct.
Well, we still got years to go.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Lawrence Davenport is
Yeah.
here on the matter. Wonder if we would consider moving that item up.
I think we can do that, but let's finish this item right quick. Did you have a comment?
All I wanted to say was that I know that you all, in just listening to what you've said, have reached out to the citizens that this is difficult for to get out there and in the training and the teaching of cooking with the fresh vegetables and using what's available. I also wanted to note that I don't remember when we started accepting the WIC vouchers, but we haven't always done that. So that was a process of reaching out to the people who are in need. And I was just wondering if maybe during the education part of it, when people come in, for you all to teach them about using the nutritional local foods, that you might encourage them to start demanding use of the books. That is an opportunity for them, but it's got to be used for them to come out there. So
Not sure how much we can demand on that.
No, I don't mean demand. I don't think I said demand, just, suggest gently. But anyway, that was just, thank you for what you're doing out there.
I will know in September about this grant too, by the way.
Okay, Commissioner McLaughlin.
Mitch, didn't you at one time have a mobile unit, I thought, that went at Cornerstone Church? Now, I don't know whether that's tied in with you all or not, but there was a type of healthy, nutritional, vegetable, fruits kind of place near there. Were you all involved in that?
Several of our vendors have cooperated with a satellite market at various locations. Cornerstone was one of those over the past few years, in addition to try to expand the access to local fruits and vegetables. So that has been a strategy that has been used by our vendors to try to increase sales.
And that's my exactly point. I think with this new grant money, we ought to do more of that. Have it expanded to some of these various locations where people can get there. I don't think it's a matter of so much of education. They know to eat healthy, but you got to have it there. They don't have this transportation. Mr. James, I think you're right. Some of those individuals just can't get over it. They don't have I don't think some of the buses. But anyway, that's my concern.
Very good.
Okay, Commissioner Cosmo.
I have a question. It has to do with entrance and exit out of the place. Who is ultimately in charge of keeping that in good repair?
I'm sorry, Ms. Coles.
The entrance and exit out of the farmer's market?
Our Building and Grounds Department has worked on the parking lot.
Do they look at it
background.
regularly? Because there are times when whole cars disappear into the, seriously, sometimes it gets pretty bad.
Okay, we will explore that.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if there are no other comments or questions, you have our full support. I believe that if there are no objections, proceed.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is our consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve that?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's vote. The next items on our agenda are items for decision, and it has been requested that we take item 3 on page 25 and move it up as our number 1 item. If there are no objections, we shall do that and proceed with the extension of the trapping season. This has been an issue that was brought before us by Commissioner Johnson, and I believe that our attorney is going to discuss that with us.
Yes, briefly, and I believe Mr. Davenport may be here as well to speak, and I'll defer to Dr. Johnson if he would like to speak on this issue as well. But this was brought to my attention, and I can just tell you the process, and then you can hear about the substance of the issue. All counties have set trapping seasons that are set by local legislation with the General Assembly. Pitt County's seasons run for fox and coyote trapping from January 2nd to January 31st. If that season is to be changed or extended, you could seek a local bill from your General Assembly to do that, if that's what this board so chooses to do. The deadlines to submit local bills for the current session are quickly approaching. We've passed them in the Senate, and they're approaching, almost passed them in the Senate, and we're approaching in the House. And so with that, there is a process to accomplish an extension of the trapping season if this board so directs me to follow that path. And with that, I'll turn it over, I suppose, to
Dr. Johnson, did you have any comments?
I just wanted Mr. Davenport to be able to comment about this. He has been up to date with regard to what surrounding counties have done in terms of trapping seasons, and it's my understanding that Pitt County needs to have an extension of the trapping season if we are to be consistent with surrounding counties.
Mr. Davenport, would you like to come forward and address this, please?
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for letting me come and speak to this issue. It's something that's that Commissioner Johnson and I have talked about for a long time. Let me give you a little preview of why we would want to extend the trapping season. We have spent in the county, some of us, farmers, Mr. James, have spent quite a bit of money and time and effort in the last 20 years trying to redo the wildlife habitat. I put out 13 turkeys in 1989 on our farm, the first ones that have been put in Pitt County in 100 years. And you know, today, if you go around anywhere in Pitt County, you will see wild turkeys. And most of it came from those 13 that we put out in 1989. The habitat for turkeys has been great. The deer population is probably too much. We're even getting a few bears now in Pitt County. And so the work that we've been doing is helping. The problem is we are just really struggling with small animals, and I'm going to say rabbits and quail particularly. We have spent no telling how many dollars trying to rehabilitate the rabbits and the quail, and the problem is that the predators are growing faster than we can rehabilitate. So what we need is a little longer trapping season to control foxes and coyotes. Coyotes have become a real problem. And in Pitt County, we don't have enough time in 30 days to really control that population. Now, we're not trying to wipe them out, particularly not foxes. I don't know about coyotes. We ought to wipe them out. But anyway, our problem is we don't have enough time. We need to be able to trap from November to the end of February. Like Beaufort County, I think is year-round trapping. I'm not sure. But some of the other counties surrounding us have lots longer trapping seasons than we do, and we need to get in sync with those counties so we can control these populations. Now, we'll never do away with them, and we don't want to do away with them. But we do need to be able to control them in order to give the small animals a chance. So I would ask that you would be in favor of this and get this bill in as soon as you possibly can, because I think we'll have support in Raleigh for it. I don't know that we have any opposition at all. So,
Okay, any questions or
I've
comments?
got some comments.
Yes, Mr.
My
James.
trap and kill bee was year-round.
Yeah.
And even now. And if you farm, you better do that, or you're gonna lose woods land.
We got beaver problems right as we
And
speak.
Why in the world, and we shoot them at night, I don't mind saying it, we're gonna get rid of them any way we can. They don't like it, come see me. Because they do too much damage, and the wildlife people have told me this, Lawrence, that whenever wildlife do you damage, your crops, your land, you have that right to take and to kill them. And I'm not like David here. Best way to do that was those shotguns. You can't do it any other way. But we have people in Pitt County that go around and do nothing but trap. And when they dam up a ditch, I didn't realize this, Lawrence. The last one I had blown up with, I can't buy dynamite, as you know.
No, we can't do it.
But we have a state man that comes around and blows it up. But we have to pay this fee, Lawrence, because I've done it when we get them to come in and blow up the dams. And these dams, some of them, had one that was 20 foot tall. You would not believe it, in the huge canal that we had to blow up. And they are doing a great deal, Dr. Johnson, of damage to woodsland in Pitt County and whatever, all over North Carolina. It's not only Pitt County, it's everywhere. You can just ride and you'll see in spots these trees dying. That's what's causing it. The beavers are stopping the flow of water, and thereby it's flooding. And you know, at one time we were putting money into the program. I don't believe that we are doing that now, are we, Mr. Chairman?
No.
We're not. We stopped. But anyway, at one time we were assisting in that program, but now we do that no more. But in closing, Lawrence, I want to thank you you and Dr. Johnson for all that you're doing, not only the trapping, but on this Gold Leaf Foundation. You've helped more people probably than you realize that you've helped in Pitt County and throughout North Carolina as far as that goes. And I, for one, and the people that I know appreciate it very, very much. And we can't thank you and the organization, which I know you're not so involved in that, but at the beginning, you are still, but at the beginning, you were it, and we do appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's all
Mr.
I have to
Chairman,
say, Mr. Chairman.
when we finish this, could I correct something that Mitch didn't get exactly right about Golden Leaf and the foundation?
You
But
certainly
finish this
may.
first.
That will be a rare occasion to correct.
I asked him if I could,
Okay.
and he said yes.
Very good. Madam Attorney, did you have anything else to say on this?
Very briefly, I wanted to say that that any legislation will not affect beavers. They're subject to a different law. And that hunting with a weapon is a different season than trapping. And so if the board would so authorize, I think, if you send me down this path, I'd like to communicate further with Mr. Davenport to be sure we are accomplishing what it is he needs to accomplish, because it's fairly complex. There's a separate season for trapping, a separate season for hunting with a weapon, and a separate season for the different animals that could be controlled. And so I just want to clarify that if your motion would leave some leeway to be able to accommodate what needs to be done, I don't want you to get too specific.
Okay, what is the pleasure of the board?
I think you need to stress what Mr. Davenport said, that was not in opposition to it this time, and that's what he and Tom are talking about. Those other avenues probably needs to be approached in a different.
And lead the beagles out, I think now.
No, we're only talking about
Yeah,
trapping. We're
you
not
don't
talking
mess
about
with the beagles,
shooting
because we're
guns.
handling them any way we can. 12 months a year, 24 hours a day, or I am.
Commissioner
I'm sure
Johnson,
that's
did you want to
public.
make a motion?
Well, I would move that we proceed with the legislation necessary to extend the trapping season in Pitt
That's-
County.
Okay.
That's-
Do I have a second?
I second
Second,
it.
yeah.
Any further discussion? Let's vote. Thank you. Now, Mr. Davenport, you have the floor. Would you like to leave, Mr. Smith, or would you like to stay?
I want him to stay right there.
Mr.
Okay.
The Tobacco Trust Fund gets 25% of the dollars that come from the master settlement agreement on the tobacco tax, and Golden Leaf gets 50%. But Mitch said that it was over in 25 years. The big part of it is over in 25 years, but it actually goes on in perpetuity. There will be not as much money coming in after 25 years, but there will be some. And of course, it's up to the legislature to decide whether they continue to let Tobacco Trust Fund have that 25%. Golden Leaf's 50%, they also have that power to take or give. Yes, Gene?
Lawrence, that's what I've been concerned about. Can the state
Yes.
cut in? They can.
They can. As a matter of fact, they have taken the Tobacco Trust Fund's money, their 25%, they have taken probably 80% of it over the 10 years that we've had it. And they have taken all of the Health and Wellness Trust Fund that Dr. Wilson headed up for a while, and Ed Monroe headed up for a while. All right, all that money, they've taken all of that. So that's the other 25%. So they've taken that, but this governor has promised that he's going to leave more of the Tobacco Trust Fund money than they have in the past few years. They have dipped into Golden Leaf a little bit, but so far we've been able to protect that for the most part. And we are doing over $3 million a year in scholarships.
That I'm very proud of you.
And
How
it's
many
a great
scholarships?
program. It's a great
How
program.
many scholarships do you? I know it's never public, but I know
It's
it's
like 200.
I know it's a lot of
225, something like a year.
Yeah, and a lot of them from Pitt
all the
County
way,
too.
all the way through graduate school in some
Yeah.
cases. So, the other point I wanted to make is, you said Pitt County is not getting enough. I need to have you understand that Pitt County has received. Let me tell you this: all of the states, all the counties in the state have received grants from Golden Leaf. Some have received 2, 3, 4. Some have received 6, 7, 8. Pitt County has received 30-some.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the top 3 in the state in
But we
receiving.
were top in tobacco production too, remember?
That's fine. Well, we're not anymore, but we were.
Well, no, we're not, but doing this
and
time.
that's fine, but we are not a Tier 1 county, and this money was supposed to go to Tier 1 counties. So we've tried to put it in Tier 1 counties. In spite of that, Pitt County has gotten more than anybody other than Buncombe and, well, Wake County's had the most, but that's because of where state government is. It's not about going to the county,
Yeah,
it goes
I
to the
understand
state. So, anyway, just want to correct that.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
We
you.
appreciate-
You being with us this morning.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate all you're doing for Pitt County too now.
Okay, we will now move to the first item under items for decision, and that is to grant an easement to Piedmont Natural Gas, and Mr. Rhodes is going to present that.
I move we approve this.
I second.
Second.
Any discussion, any questions of Mr. James? It's pretty cut and dried if you've read the abstract. Let's vote.
It's unanimous yeses.
Okay. Thank you. We will now move to the second item, which is also Mr. James, and this is a hazard mitigation grant as a result of Hurricane Irene.
Move we approve that.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Okay, any questions of Mr. James? Thank you very much.
Thank
Let's
you.
vote. Excellent job, Mr. James, as always. Okay, on page 31 is our next item, and we have to appoint here someone to the Animal Control Advisory Board. It has been recommended that we appoint Ralph Skinner. What is your pleasure?
I make that motion.
Have a motion?
Second.
Second?
Okay, any further discussion? Let's vote. Thank you. The next item is appointment to the Fire Commission. On page 37 in your agenda package, this is to appoint Mr. Stanley Whaley to the
So
Garnersville
moved.
Fire Department.
Second.
Second, Any further discussion? Let's vote. Thank you. The next item is appointments and a removal to our Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. The first suggestion is that we appoint Keith Letchworth. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I second it.
Okay, any further discussion? Let's vote. It's also suggested here that we remove David Mills. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Okay, any discussion? Let's vote. Thank you. We do have a closed session, and I would ask our attorney to take us into closed session, please.
Yes, it's been suggested that this board go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A6 to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, conditions of appointment, or conditions of initial employment of an individual employee or public officer of this county. Also under 143-318.11A3 to consult with an attorney employed by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege. Under the same statute, section sub A7, to hear reports concerning an investigation of alleged criminal misconduct, and under sub A1 to prevent the disclosure of information that is privileged or confidential pursuant to the laws of this state.
Okay, do I have a motion that we go into closed session? Any questions? Let's vote. Thank you. We need to clear the room, and as soon as we do that, we will be in our closed session. Welcome back to our Board of Commissioners meeting. We have one item from our closed session that we need to take care of. Commissioner Webb?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Make a motion that we approve the minutes from our February 18th closed session as to the content only.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, let's vote. G. Okay, thank you. We now have commissioners' comments. Commissioner Hammond, do you have any comments?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I would like to congratulate you and our manager and all of our guests that was here this morning that was positive about the interstate connectivity that's been going on, and I was pleased to find out from our manager last week that him and you and our mayor of Greenville and others are working often and meet often on this issue. I read about it in the paper, and I was very pleased, and I want you to know that I'm 140% supportive of that.
Very good, thank you.
No comment.
Mr. James, Commissioner Colson,
No comment.
No comment.
Commissioner Ward, Commissioner Owens,
No, sir.
Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner
Aye,
McLaughlin,
sir.
Commissioner Webb.
No, sir.
Do I have a motion we adjourn?
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor, vote yes.